I'm running late. The steady tick of my designer watch reminds me with each flick of the wrist as I navigate my Audi through the tree-lined streets of my childhood neighborhood. My knuckles whiten against the steering wheel when my parents' sprawling house comes into view, its stately presence sending waves of familiar anxiety through me. At 26, the youngest marketing director in my company's history, and my stomach still knots like I'm 16 and missed curfew. I check my reflection in the rear view. Designer blazer crisp, makeup flawless, hair smoothed into submission. Armor, all of it. The driveway is already full. My brother Eric's Range Rover, my sister Melissa's family SUV, Dad's Mercedes. I park on the street like a visitor, which is exactly what I am these days. 4 visits a year, each one more exhausting than the last. My heels click against the stone path to the door. I don't knock. This performative dance of belonging requires certain steps. There she is. Mom's voice carries from the kitchen as I slip inside. We were about to start without you. No hug, no direct eye contact. Just the familiar scent of roasting turkey and the undercurrent of disapproval that has always scented the air when I'm present. Sorry, client emergency. The lie slips out easily. Better than admitting I sat in my car for 15 minutes, practicing deep breathing exercises. Always working. Dad appears in the hallway, bourbon in hand, eyes tracking my outfit with familiar appraisal. One of these days, you'll find something more important than that job. My smile stiffens but holds. Nice to see you too, Dad. I follow the sounds of conversation to the dining room, where Melissa is arranging flowers at the center of a table glittering with Mom's best china and crystal. Eric sprawls in a chair, phone in hand, barely glancing up as I enter. Emma, Mom says, appearing behind me. Go ahead and sit at the kids' table. We've got a spot for you there. The words hit like a physical blow. I turn slowly, certain I've misheard. But there it is. The plastic folding table set up in the corner of the dining room, ringed with colorful children's chairs and set with themed paper plates. My nieces and nephews aren't even there yet, still playing in the basement from the sounds of distant squeals. The kids' table? My voice emerges steady despite the heat rising in my cheeks. Mom's expression remains pleasant, unbothered. We need the space at the main table for Melissa's in-laws. They're joining us this year. I stand frozen, the memory of this morning's preparation washing over me. The care I took selecting this outfit, the extra time spent on my hair, the pep talk in my bathroom mirror. My apartment had felt like a sanctuary this morning, the framed award on my desk, the notification of my promotion still open on my laptop, my friend Zoe's voice on the phone. Why do you still go? Seriously, Emma, what would happen if you just didn't? Now, trapped in the doorway between escape and humiliation, I consider objecting. My lips part, protests forming on my tongue. Eric looks up from his phone, catching my expression. His eyes narrow slightly, a familiar look that says, "Don't make a scene." Fine. The word tastes bitter. I force my feet to move toward the children's table, acutely aware of every eye not watching me, of the deliberate conversations continuing as if this is normal. I lower myself into a chair meant for a child, knees nearly touching my chest, the edge of the table hitting at an awkward height that forces me to hunch. My niece's unicorn plate sits before me, the cartoon eyes seeming to mock my discomfort. The children filter in, eyes wide with confusion at finding an adult at their designated table. My 7-year-old nephew Ben tilts his head. Aunt Emma, why are you sitting with us? I swallow hard. Just mixing things up? At the main table, conversation flows without interruption. Mom leans toward Melissa. How's the baby sleeping these days? Eric, Dad's voice carries. Tell David about that promotion. Glasses clink as my father raises his in a toast. To family success, he says, his gaze touching everyone but me. The adults murmur in agreement, a chorus I'm not part of. I watch them from my exile, the realization settling cold and heavy in my stomach. This table, this ridiculous, child-sized plastic throne, is the perfect symbol for my entire life in this family. Always adjacent, never included. Tolerated, never celebrated. My 7-year-old niece, Lucy, bumps her juice cup, sending a purple wave across the table and directly onto my cream silk blouse. The cold seeps through immediately, grape juice bleeding into expensive fabric. Sorry, Aunt Emma. Her little face crumples with genuine remorse. It's okay, sweetie. I dab at the spreading stain with a paper napkin, the material disintegrating against wet silk. Something breaks inside me, not dramatically, but with a quiet finality, like ice shifting beneath the surface of a frozen lake. I stand up, the child's chair scraping against hardwood. I fold my paper napkin carefully, placing it beside the cartoon plate. Mom glances over, brow furrowing. Emma, is something wrong with your seat? I don't answer. My steps are measured as I walk to the hallway closet and retrieve my coat. I can feel their eyes now, finally seeing me as I prepare to disappear. Some traditions aren't worth preserving. The door closes behind me with a soft click instead of the slam my trembling hands want to deliver. Restraint, my lifelong companion. Emma, where are you going? Mom's voice carries through the front window, that perfect pitch of controlled outrage that's fooled country club friends for decades. I turn, meeting her eyes through the glass. I'm leaving. Enjoy your dinner. Simple words, no dramatics, just truth delivered without padding or apology. My hands shake as I slide the key into the ignition. The Audi purrs to life, its gentle vibration steadying me as I pull away from the curb. The silence in the car wraps around me, unfamiliar and terrifying. 26 years of family Thanksgivings, and I've never once left early. My phone buzzes before I reach the first stoplight. Then again, and again. By the time I'm 3 blocks away, the notifications become a continuous hum against my thigh, my family's collective outrage transmitted through cellular waves. At a red light, I glance down. Eric, stop acting like a child. Come back. The irony would be amusing if it weren't so painful. I was literally sitting at a children's table 10 minutes ago, but I'm the one acting childish. My voicemail indicator flashes. I tap it, putting it on speaker while I drive. Emma! My father's voice fills the car, bourbon rough. Enough of this nonsense. Get home now. Not a request, a command issued to an underling, not a successful adult woman. 2 more texts arrive in quick succession. Melissa. Mom is freaking out. Just come back and talk. You're ruining dinner. The family group chat explodes with messages. What is going on with her? She's always been so sensitive. Should we be worried? This is so embarrassing with David's parents here. My exit wasn't about creating a scene, but their responses reveal how thoroughly they misunderstand me. I don't want drama. I just wanted a place at the table, a real place. I drive without destination until neon lights catch my eye. A 24-hour diner glowing against the darkening November sky. The parking lot is half full, other holiday refugees seeking sanctuary from family obligations. The warmth hits me as I step inside. Not just physical heat, but something more essential. The waitress looks up from wiping a counter, her eyes taking in my designer clothes, the mascara smudge I can feel beneath my right eye. Honey, you look like you could use some coffee. She doesn't ask what's wrong or why I'm alone on Thanksgiving, just slides a mug in front of me as I settle into a booth. And maybe a slice of pie? She adds, her smile genuine in a way my mother's never is. That would be perfect. My voice cracks on the words. While waiting, I scroll through my phone's photo gallery. Each swipe reveals another family gathering where the pattern is clear once I allow myself to see it. Christmas 3 years ago. Everyone clustered around the tree while I stand slightly apart, half-cropped from the frame. My college graduation. My parents flanking my siblings in the foreground while I hold my honors diploma just out of focus. I screenshot a text from my mother from last year. How's that little job going? Still enjoying playing businesswoman? Senior marketing director, youngest in company history. But in her eyes, I'm playing pretend. I find the email from my father, sent to Eric and Melissa, but accidentally copying me. Investment opportunity too complex to include Emma. You know she wouldn't understand it anyway. My calendar reveals the pattern too. 8 consecutive family events, where I was seated at a side table, at the end of the row, or literally in another room. The pie arrives, golden crust and tart cherries, as I compose my message to the family group chat. I select the Christmas photo, the one where I'm half cropped out, and type a caption, "The perfect family," always making sure the youngest one knows her place. I continue typing, my fingers steady now. This isn't just about the table. I've been treated like an afterthought my entire life. When you actually see me as an equal, let me know. My thumb hovers over the send button. The single action will fracture 26 years of acquiescence. Once sent, there's no pretending anymore. No more good daughter who swallows indignities with a smile. I press send. Then power off my phone completely. The pie tastes better than any Thanksgiving meal I can remember. I savor each bite, leaving a generous tip before walking back to my car. My spine feels straighter, my shoulders lowered from their perpetual defensive hunch. Emma? Emma Reeves? I turn to find Mark Connolly, my lab partner from AP Chemistry, now a pediatrician according to the occasional social media glimpse. Mark, hi! He studies my face with professional assessment. You look different, lighter somehow. I smile, surprised to find it genuine. I finally put down something heavy I've been carrying for years. He nods like he understands, though he couldn't possibly know what transpired today. But maybe he recognizes the universal look of someone who's finally chosen themselves after years of self-abandonment. As I drive toward home, my home, not theirs, I wonder what happens next. Will I withstand the guilt storm that's surely brewing? Will I cave when my mother cries, or my father threatens? Or will this be the first day of a new chapter where I finally stand my ground? The night sky opens above me, vast and full of possibilities I never allowed myself to see, while squeezing into spaces too small to contain me. I drop my keys into the ceramic bowl by the door, a piece I bought from a local artist to celebrate my first promotion. The sound echoes through my apartment, bouncing off the exposed brick walls that I fell in love with 3 years ago when I signed the lease without a cosigner, without my parents' approval. My designer blazer slides from my shoulders, heavy with the weight of today's confrontation. I hang it carefully in the closet, muscle memory preserving the expensive fabric, even as my mind races with the gravity of what I've done. I've never walked out before, not once in 26 years. My apartment glows with the warm light of success they refuse to acknowledge. The framed marketing award on my office wall, the signed prints from campaigns that doubled client revenue, the sleek furniture I selected and purchased myself. No hand-me-downs, no parental subsidies. I kick off my heels and pad across the hardwood to the living room wall, where family photos hang in artful arrangement. Never forget where you came from, Emma. My fingers trace the gilt frame of last year's Christmas portrait. Eric and Melissa flanking our parents, their spouses and children arranged in perfect formation, and me slightly off-center, half a step behind the group, my smile not quite reaching my eyes. I lift the frame and remove it from its hook. One by one, I take down each family photo, creating a stack on my coffee table. Not destroyed, just removed from my daily sightline. The wall looks strangely empty, but I feel fuller somehow. My phone sits dark and silent on the counter where I abandoned it hours ago. The notification light blinks accusingly red. I leave it there and open a bottle of wine instead. Tonight, I sleep uninterrupted by family-induced anxiety for the first time in memory. Number 3 AM spiral of imagined criticisms. No mental rehearsal of responses to potential jabs. Just darkness and peace, and the distant sound of city traffic below my window. Morning light streams through my eastern windows, painting golden patterns across my bedspread. I stretch, muscles relaxed in a way that feels foreign after years of tension. For a moment, I forget yesterday's upheaval and simply exist in the warmth. Then reality returns, and with it, a strange sensation in my chest. Not the familiar tightness of dread, but something lighter. Something that feels dangerously like freedom. I shower, dress in soft lounge clothes, and make coffee before approaching my phone. The blinking light has become frantic. Texts, calls, voicemails accumulating throughout the night. I take a deep breath and press the power button. The notifications flood my screen in a digital avalanche of family reaction. Dad, 6:42 p.m. Where did you go? Call your mother immediately. Dad, 7:15 p.m. Your mother is devastated. Fix this now. Mom, 6:38 p.m. Emma, please come back. We're worried about you. Mom, 8:24 p.m. I don't understand why you're making this into such a big deal. It was just a table arrangement. Eric, 7:03 p.m. Way to ruin dinner? Mom's upset and Dad's furious. Nice work. Eric, 10:17 p.m. If you thought this would make us respect you more, you're wrong. You're acting like a child. Melissa, 6:55 p.m. Where are you? Mom's freaking out. Melissa, 8:42 p.m. Do you realize how selfish you're being? Mom can't stop crying. The messages escalate through the evening. Concern morphing to anger, then outright threats. Dad's final text suggests reconsidering financial support I haven't received since college. My brother questions my mental stability. My sister invokes family loyalty as if it's a one-way obligation. I scroll through them with growing clarity, seeing the manipulation tactics laid bare. The guilt, the gaslighting, the collective rewriting of reality, where I'm the villain for refusing to accept the unacceptable. Then, a text from an unexpected sender stops my thumb mid-scroll. Sophie, 13, Melissa's daughter. I get it, Aunt Emma. They make me feel invisible too. My breath catches. I read it 3 times. My niece's simple words cutting through the noise of adult accusations. She sees it too. The subtle exclusion. The dismissal of worth. My phone vibrates with an incoming call. The name surprises me. Aunt Victoria, Dad's sister, who disappeared from family gatherings years ago. The black sheep who chose career over children and paid the price in familial currency. Emma, it's Victoria. Her voice sounds both foreign and familiar, a blood connection speaking through years of absence. Aunt Vicky, it's been, 6 years? I know. Your cousin Marcus showed me your message about the kids' table. She pauses, her breath audible through the connection. I want you to know you're not crazy. The validation hits me like a physical force. I sink onto my couch, emotions threatening to overcome my careful composure. I went through the same thing when I chose career over kids, she continues. Your father and mother couldn't reconcile my choices with their worldview, so they simply reduced me, made me smaller, put me at the metaphorical kids' table until I stopped coming to dinner altogether. Memories surface of childhood questions about Aunt Victoria's absence. She doesn't care about family, was the standard response. A simple explanation that absolved everyone else of responsibility. I always wondered why you stopped visiting. Same reason you walked out yesterday. Dignity has a breaking point, Emma. After we hang up, I pull my journal from the desk drawer and open to a blank page. At the top, I write boundaries in bold capitals, then begin listing them with surprising clarity. 1. I will only attend family gatherings where I'm treated as an equal adult. 2. I will no longer accept dismissive comments about my career. 3. I will meet on neutral ground, not the family home. The list grows, each boundary a brick in the foundation of my self-respect. When it's complete, I call my therapist for an emergency session. Then my friend Zoe, who answers with immediate concern. I did it, I tell her. I finally walked out. Holy shit, Em, she breathes. I'm so proud of you. 2 hours later, I find myself on an online forum for adults navigating family estrangement. The stories mirror mine with eerie similarity. The consistent exclusion, the subtle undermining, the moment of clarity that triggered action. I'm not alone in this experience. not broken or overly sensitive, just human, with normal human limits. By evening, I've compiled evidence of the pattern: photos, text screenshots, a timeline of incidents spanning years. I practice responses to anticipated arguments. I'm not angry, I'm establishing boundaries. This isn't about one dinner, it's about a lifetime of exclusion. I'm not asking for special treatment, just equal treatment. I arrange to meet them at a coffee shop downtown. Public, neutral, time limited. I text Zoe to check on me halfway through. My phone rings just after 9. Mom's name flashes on the screen. I let it ring 3 times, centering myself before answering. "Hello, Mom." "Emma." Her voice is controlled, the practiced tone of someone who believes they hold the power. "Your father and I have decided we're willing to forgive you for yesterday's display." The old Emma would have accepted this opening, grateful for any path back to approval. But that version of me sat at a folding kids' table and accepted paper plates while adults dined on china. I inhaled deeply, feeling my spine straighten. "That's interesting," I reply, my voice steady and clear, "because I'm still deciding if I'm willing to forgive you." The silence that follows stretches so long, I check to see if the call disconnected. But she's there, breathing, recalibrating a world where her youngest daughter has suddenly, irrevocably, changed the script. 3 weeks pass before I see any of them again. My boundary-setting meeting at the coffee shop never happened. Dad refused to meet on neutral ground, as if we were engaging in diplomatic relations rather than family conversation. Mom sent daily texts alternating between guilt trips and artificial normalcy. Eric called once, drunk, to tell me I was being dramatic as usual, before hanging up mid-sentence. Only Melissa reached out with something resembling sincerity, asking if we could meet for lunch, just the two of us. I agreed, selecting a quiet bistro downtown that feels like my territory, far from the suburbs and family influence. I arrive early, selecting a corner table that gives me full view of the entrance. When Melissa walks in, the first thing I notice is how tired she looks. Her normally immaculate appearance seems slightly disheveled. Designer bag, but no matching shoes. Hair pulled back, without her usual precision. "Thanks for meeting me," she says, sliding into the seat across from me. Her eyes scan my face, searching for something. "You look different." I feel different, I admit, surprising myself with the honesty. The waiter approaches, and we order. A simple salad for Melissa, French onion soup for me. When he leaves, silence stretches between us, the weight of unspoken family dynamics filling the space. "Mom's devastated," she finally says, fingers fidgeting with her napkin. "She cries every time someone mentions your name." My old self would have immediately accepted this burden, rushed to apologize, make amends. But 3 weeks of distance have given me clarity I didn't know was possible. "I'm sorry she's hurting," I say carefully, but her tears don't invalidate my experience. Melissa's eyes widen slightly, this script deviation clearly unexpected. "Emma, it was just a seating arrangement. You're really going to throw away family over something so trivial? Is that what they're saying? That I left over a seating chart?" The soup arrives, steam rising between us. It wasn't about the table, Mel. It was about what the table represented. 26 years of being treated as less than, of being an afterthought in my own family. She stirs her salad without eating, avoiding my gaze. "You've always been so sensitive." "That's exactly what I mean," I say, my voice steady despite the familiar sting. "Instead of considering that maybe, just maybe, there's merit to my feelings, you dismiss them as oversensitivity." For a moment, something flickers across Melissa's face. Recognition, perhaps, or the beginning of understanding. But it's quickly replaced by the familiar mask of family loyalty. "Dad says you're on some kind of power trip because of your promotion," she says, her tone suggesting she half believes it herself. "That you think you're too good for us now." The irony is almost laughable. "I've spent my entire life trying to be good enough for you all." "That's not fair, Emma. We've always supported you." "Have you?" I place my spoon down carefully. When was the last time anyone asked about my work? My life? My achievements? She opens her mouth, then closes it again, searching for examples she clearly can't find. I can tell you the exact date, I continue. 2 years ago, when Dad needed marketing advice for his golf buddy's company. That was the only time my career was ever treated as valuable, rather than an eccentric hobby. Melissa's phone buzzes on the table. She glances down, then back at me. Mom wants to know if you're coming to Christmas. The change of subject is so abrupt, so typically Melissa, that I almost laugh. I haven't decided yet. What do you mean you haven't decided? Her voice rises slightly. It's Christmas, Emma. Family Christmas. I'm evaluating which traditions still serve me and which ones don't. The words come out with a confidence that feels new and exhilarating. If I'm treated like an equal adult member of the family, maybe I'll come. If not, I'll make other plans. You can't just skip Christmas. Melissa looks genuinely scandalized. Dad will be furious. I'm not trying to make Dad furious. I'm trying to protect my own well-being. Melissa leans forward, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. Look, Emma, I get it. We all have our issues with Mom and Dad, but we deal with it. We don't throw tantrums and storm out. Setting boundaries isn't throwing a tantrum, I say, meeting her gaze directly. And maybe if more of us had set boundaries years ago, this family wouldn't be so dysfunctional. We are not dysfunctional, Melissa hisses, glancing around to see if anyone overheard. Aren't we? Dad manipulates through financial threats and emotional withholding. Mom ranks her children by their adherence to her life script. Eric drinks too much and takes it out on everyone else. You perform perfect daughter and pretend everything's fine. And I've spent my life trying to earn a place at a table that was never set for me. Melissa's face flushes, and for a moment, I think she might get up and leave. Instead, she reaches for her water glass, taking a long sip before responding. You know, Sophie asked about you yesterday, she says, changing tactics. She misses her aunt. The mention of my niece, the one family member who sees the dynamic clearly, softens something in me. I miss her too, and all the kids. Then why are you punishing them over adult disagreements? I'm not punishing anyone, Mel, but I need to figure out how to have relationships with my family that don't require me to diminish myself. Melissa studies me with new intensity. This is really important to you, isn't it? Yes, I say simply. It is. She nods slowly, gathering her things. I should get back to work, but I'll talk to Mom and Dad, see if there's some compromise we can reach about Christmas. It's not much, but it's more than I expected. Thank you. As she stands to leave, Melissa hesitates. You know, you do look really good, Em. Whatever's happening with you, it suits you. It's the first genuine compliment she's given me in years. Thanks, Mel. After she leaves, I sit alone with my half-eaten soup, feeling strangely light despite the difficult conversation. Setting boundaries isn't easy, but the weight of performance, of constantly seeking approval at the expense of my own dignity, had been crushing me for longer than I realized. My phone chimes with a text from Aunt Victoria. Heard you had lunch with Melissa. How did it go? Better than expected, I reply, but a long way from resolution. That's the journey, she texts back, one conversation at a time. The first snowfall of the season blankets the city 2 weeks before Christmas. My office window offers a perfect view of white-dusted buildings and streets transformed into holiday postcards. Ms. Reeves? My assistant, Jared, appears in the doorway. The Anderson pitch is ready for your review, and HR sent over paperwork for your new team members. Thanks, I say, turning from the window. And Jared? It's Emma, remember? Ms. Reeves makes me feel like my mother. He grins. Right, Emma. Oh, and these arrived for you. He places a small gift basket on my desk. Premium chocolates from a luxury brand, wrapped in gold foil. The card reads, Congratulations on your continued success. We'd like to discuss potential partnership opportunities. David and Melissa Henderson, my brother-in-law's company. the same one that Dad had redirected conversations toward countless times over Thanksgiving dinner, while ignoring my career completely. I placed the card down slowly, recognizing the familiar script. Now that I've achieved a certain level of success, now that I have something they need, suddenly I'm worthy of acknowledgement. Everything okay? Jared asks, noticing my expression. Family, I say with a shrug. The gift that keeps on giving. The irony isn't lost on me. 5 weeks after being relegated to the children's table, I'm suddenly an attractive business connection. I'm not naive enough to believe this is a peace offering. It's transactional. Just another form of family currency. My phone buzzes with a text from Sophie. Mom said you might not come for Christmas. Is that true? My heart aches at her direct question. I'm still deciding, kiddo. How are you doing? Everyone's acting weird, she replies. Grandma keeps crying in the bathroom. Dad says you're being selfish. Mom just looks tired all the time. The guilt rises, immediate and fierce. This is exactly what they want. For me to feel responsible for everyone's emotional state. To rush back into the fold to maintain the family equilibrium. Sometimes adults need time to figure things out, I text back. But I'm always here for you, no matter what. 3 dots appear as she types. Then, can I come visit you instead? I don't want to be here if everyone's going to be fighting. The request catches me off guard. Sophie is 13, old enough to have opinions, but still firmly under her parents' control. That's something you'd need to talk to your mom and dad about, honey. I already asked. Mom said no. Of course she did. I'm sorry, Soph. But maybe we can FaceTime on Christmas, just the two of us? I guess. I can feel her disappointment through the screen. But it's not the same. I'm about to respond when my office phone rings, an external call routed through reception. Emma Reeves speaking. Emma, it's David, Melissa's husband. My brother-in-law's voice sounds unnaturally formal. In 8 years of marriage to my sister, we've never had a one-on-one conversation that wasn't facilitated by Melissa. David, I got your gift basket. Good, good. He clears his throat. Listen, I'll get straight to the point. Henderson Financial is expanding our digital marketing efforts, and your name keeps coming up in industry circles. I lean back in my chair. Is that so? Your campaign for TechSphere last quarter was brilliant. Exactly the kind of innovative approach we need. The compliment lands differently than it should. After years of family dismissal, hearing my work praised by someone adjacent to that same family feels almost manipulative. Thank you, I say, keeping my tone neutral. But I'm quite committed to my current position. At least hear me out, David pushes. We're prepared to offer a substantial package, 20% above your current salary plus equity options. My fingers tighten around the phone. How do you know my current salary, David? A pause. Industry standards, of course. Plus, your father mentioned. My father discussed my salary with you? The temperature in the room seems to drop several degrees. Just in passing. During Thanksgiving, actually. His voice turns cautious, sensing the shift. Look, Emma, this isn't about family politics. This is a legitimate business opportunity. Is it? I stand, pacing to the window. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my professional value is suddenly recognized only when it's useful to the family agenda. That's not fair. Your work speaks for itself. Funny how no one in the family could hear it speaking until now. I take a deep breath, centering myself. I appreciate the offer, David, but I'm not interested. Emma, his voice drops to a confidential tone. This isn't just about the job. Your father wants to mend fences. He sees this as a way to bring you back into the fold. And there it is, the real motivation. Not my professional expertise, but family reconciliation on their terms. If Dad wants to mend fences, he has my number, I say firmly. He doesn't need to create a job for me. It's not like that, David insists. But your mother is devastated about Christmas. She can't bear the thought of an empty seat at the table. The irony is so thick, I could cut it with a knife. Is that right? Because at Thanksgiving, she seemed perfectly comfortable giving me a seat at the kids' table. Silence stretches between us. I can almost hear David weighing his next words carefully. Look, he finally says, families are complicated, but at the end of the day, they're still family. Family should be where you're most respected, not least, I counter. If you want to discuss a legitimate business opportunity, I'd be happy to have my assistant schedule a proper meeting, but I won't be leveraged or manipulated through professional channels. That crosses both personal and ethical boundaries. I think you're reading too much into this, Emma. Perhaps. My voice is steady now, certain. But that's my position. After hanging up, I sit at my desk, staring at the gift basket. The gold foil chocolates suddenly look gaudy rather than luxurious. I pick up the phone again, dialing my assistant. Jared, could you please take this gift basket to the break room for everyone to enjoy? And if David Henderson calls again, tell him I'm in meetings for the rest of the day. Will do. I turn back to my computer, diving into work with renewed focus. The familiar rhythm of marketing strategies and campaign analytics settles my thoughts, providing the clarity I've always found in professional challenges. Hours later, as the office empties for the evening, my phone buzzes with a text from my father. Your behavior is unprofessional and embarrassing. That was a legitimate opportunity David offered you. I don't respond. The old Emma would have crafted a careful reply, explaining and defending. But that version of me is being steadily replaced by someone who understands that not every accusation requires a defense. Instead, I text Aunt Victoria. Any advice on navigating your first holiday season after establishing boundaries? Her response comes quickly. Make new traditions. Find people who celebrate you exactly as you are. And remember, boundaries aren't walls. They're the foundation of healthier relationships, should your family ever be ready for one.